Welcome to another episode, everyone. Big Tony, OG Cartoon, says that the streets are 50-50. The streets are dead. The streets is nothing. He doesn't want to hear about these penitentiary yards being 50-50 when the streets are 50-50. He explains why the streets are 50-50, how these individuals on the streets are getting away with all sorts of stuff. So if you tough guys on the internet, maybe me too, are going to be talking about this 50-50 yard, then deal with these problems out here on the streets that are also 50-50. Shout out to OG Cartoon. Let's get into it.
Well, people talking this 50-50 talk like they high powered, like they this and they that. And the streets are 50-50. Straight up. The streets are 50-50. If that's the case, if they want to put on the front on social media or put on the front like they just stomp down about whatever they say they about, well, if that's the case, they need to be going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs on the streets, because the streets are 50-50. You know, they talk about, now I understand about dude come to prison, he done took some cat, he done gangstered a female up out her cat. I can understand, you know what I'm saying, you know, dudes, chomos, come to prison, mess with them little kids. You know, in my day and time, you couldn't stay on the yard if you had them type cases. You know what I'm saying? Me, myself, I have removed dudes off the yard when I was in Pelican Bay who was accused of, you know, doing something to kids. You know, that's always been a rule, point blank. So, you know, I can understand that. But the other thing, so now they talking about 50-50 in prison. Like I say, the streets 50-50. If that's the case, man, dudes standing around every day in their neighborhoods riding in the car with 50-50 people. Huh? You know what I'm saying? They standing around with their homies that got snitch allegations on them. They ain't saying nothing to them. They ain't 50-50 in them. They riding in the car with these cats. They kicking it, smoking weed and passing the bottle back and forth with they homies who they know done took some cat. You done seen it on the internet. Dudes talking about it. You know what your homie be doing. You know what type of homie you got. But you ain't saying nothing about it out here on the streets. You riding around kicking it in the set with your homies who basically chomos. Yeah. Yo, you know what I'm saying? They laying in the cut when they think ain't nobody looking, but they freaking on their little young homegirls, 15, 16 years old. When it get dark, they creeping off in they little homegirls getting in the car, they creeping off with them. Next thing you know, they little homegirls pregnant. They creeping from the set day with they little young homegirls. And y'all be knowing these grown men, the so-called big homies, be freaking and laying and freaking on they little young homegirls. Is that not some chomo mess? They in they late 20s, early 30s, 40s, 50s. But now they doing what they doing with their little young homegirls, 15, 16, 17. What is that? But see, on the street, you got selective politicking. That's where your selective politicking coming in. They ain't saying nothing about that. It's hee-hee-ha-ha.
Interested to know what you all think about that so far? OG Tony, OG Cartoon says that the streets are 50-50, that these hoods are infested with bad peoples, individuals who are no good, individuals who are messing around with 15 and 16-year-olds, as you heard in these hoods. Your big homies, your little homies, all of that, your homies are messing with the little homegirls, these other little girls around the neighborhood. All of you individuals know this and are doing nothing about it. Instead, you're riding around in the car with them. And you want to talk about 50-50 in a penitentiary. And what's what in a penitentiary, meanwhile, you're out here on the street hanging out with individuals who are clearly 50-50 or should be 50-50 or will be 50-50 when they hit the penitentiary because of some of the dastardly deeds that they're out here doing on the street.
It smiles about that. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, you know what, man? You know the homegirl such and such. Hey man, shoot, man, who she got a baby by? Man, she pregnant by Big Whoopty Wham. What? Now here it is, she's 16, but Big Whoopty Wham, 30. Huh? But now if if something was to go wrong and he was to get locked up in prison, he'd be labeled. Now y'all be wanting to do something to him. But now because he ain't got caught and locked up for it, y'all on the streets with it, oh, it's okay. Ain't nobody tripping. You know, homies turning down fades. You walking around, kicking it, riding around in the car with dudes who done ran out on you. You see it on the internet. Dudes getting talked about because they got rushed by their so-called enemies, and 2 or 3 of them done ran. Huh? But you look up 2-3 weeks later, you still with them. Oh man, we DP'd them, man. Ain't nothing, you know. But you still hanging with them. Because you say you DP'd them, but oh, it's okay to still turn around and hang with them. Oh, I ain't gonna do it no more, man. You know, yeah, I was just scared a little bit. I ain't gonna do it no more. Man, go ahead on, man. Little dude's coming home from the county jail. The whole time he was in the county jail, you getting calls about how he get punked, ran out modules, turning down fades, scared to fight. From module to module to module, he getting punched on. But now he get out the county jail, come right back to the turf, and y'all want to talk about, oh man, yeah, man, we heard whoop-de-whoop happen, and whoop-whoop-whoop, but then you sweep it under the rug. He might have some family from the set, and y'all sweep it under the rug, or you like, oh man, I ain't tripping, man, you know, man, shoot, man, homie might have been, huh? But it's all right, though. Is that, is that not 50-50, huh? Your homies getting called out by dudes, and they turn their face down, scared to fight, all that. So it's all that the same type of thing that if they were in prison and they did all these things I'm talking about, would they be deemed all bad? Yes, they would. Would they get a removal? Yes, they would. But I guess the rules only apply if you in prison, huh? On the streets, I guess everything goes. It's all good, huh? But you want to sit on here and talk tough about a 50-50 or somebody who been to a 50-50 and you know what I'm saying, ain't never did none of that type stuff, you know. So like I said, man, the streets 50-50. You talk about our selective politic, man, everybody that's out here in these streets be selective politicking in. All of them. They picking and choosing what they want to harp about. So like I say, oh, I guess the rules only apply. Oh, it's only when we in prison. You know, all them rules apply. All them rules don't apply on the street. Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? When you on the yard and one of your homies gets socked out, boop, bop, bam, and he tuck and roll and won't fight and run, is he still good? No, he ain't. But out here on the streets, you got homies that get socked out, they get tuck and roll and still come back to the turf. They all good. It ain't no thing. Like I say, I guess them rules only apply when you in prison. Man, yeah, if y'all don't miss me with that dumb stuff, like I say, man, bump all that stupid mess. The streets are 50-50. Now what?
All right. Let me know what you all think in the comments about what Big Tony had to say. Formerly OG Cartoon, Fire Trey Avalon Crip. Gangster Crip. Doesn't bang anymore. And he says that the streets are 50-50, that individuals out here on the streets are letting things go that you would not let go in prison. And that if you're going to be out here on the streets pushing a line about what goes in prison as far as the 50-50 is concerned, then you need to be doing the same thing out here on the street, going cuckoo for cuckoo puffs or whatever. Cuckoo for cocoa puffs. You need to be out here putting in work. If you're so, if you're such a stickler for the rules that 50-50 is out because of this and that, these individuals, he says, are on the streets performing as if they're 50-50 individuals, sleeping with younger girls, running out on their homeboys, all sorts of stuff. And yet these individuals are still able to frequent their hood, hang out in their hood, and individuals in their hood are hanging out with them. And these individuals are individuals who could not make it in prison on a mainline yard, because what they're doing out here on the street is 50-50 behavior and everyone is accepting it. But then you want to talk about how tough prison is and how you would not accept a 50-50 individual. So, yeah, like I said, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments about his take on that, about these 50-50 yards, and I guess why they really should not matter. Because, I mean, certainly no argument for me that everything on the streets is 50-50 inside of these neighborhoods now. That's why I constantly encourage you all to get out of it and to get away from your neighborhood, because they're no good. There are individuals in your neighborhood who have ran out, who have snitched, who are, doing things with little girls and all of this, younger girls, and nothing has happened to them, nothing is happening to them, and they're still able to, and they are allowed to still come inside of the neighborhood and chill as if they're one of the fellas after they've committed some sort of grisly crime that individuals in the neighborhood know about. But it's all watered down now. The streets, and again, as I said earlier, the prison system is watered down now. Almost anything and everything goes, unfortunately. That's why this culture is so toxic now, and why you should not want any parts of it. He certainly has some good points, that a lot of this stuff that is happening on the streets is indeed 50-50 and would be considered 50-50 there in prison. And yet they're able to get away with it. Everyone is able to get away with it on the street, but in prison. But, the rules in prison are different. Again, prison is the last line of defense. Yes, there are all sorts of people out here on the street that do all sorts of things, and they get in prison, and it does catch up to them when they get in prison. But out here on the streets, they're able to escape for different reasons. But every entity has its own structure. Prison is no different. Let me know what you think in the comments. Shout out to Big Tune. Stay safe and stay free, people.